Hey guys, I'm really sorry because I just heard my last, I just watched my last video. There was some disturbance in my, there was some noise in the background. It just was because of, new, I don't know what actually, but I just removed all the, settings which I done, all the filters which I added for the microphone. I hope it's working fine now. I'll definitely, I really apologize for that. I don't know. I cannot, make the video again. That video went with flow. I made that video with flow, so I cannot have the same flow now. Yeah, let's concentrate about the work now. So, yeah, see, this server is watching JSON server, right? So that means I'll be able to say I did install my Postman. So I'm not going to. I'll create another time. That's it. The JSON server itself, it will give default URL called if you go here, you'll be able to see the documentation. Just copy this URL and put it in a postman and send it. You'll be not able to see, right? So it's a post, it's a get, right? Yeah. So let me check. So it's a posts, right? So let me check what is my server JSON name. So it's actress. So let me check. I'm not going to have a so I'll be able to get all the actors data, right? So this is same thing I'm going to use in my get. So this is where your work begins, guys. This is where your study begins. So please concentrate on the same thing. So I'm going to, so this will run, so don't worry. So it will run in it will not, nothing will happen for that. So all I need to do, I just need to access my web service, and here I'm going to create some async functions. Okay, I can use like async, first I'll create a function. I'll say like, I'm going to create a function. I need to change my keyboard also, guys. I don't know, because of this lockdown I'm not able to put the place in order also, so I'll definitely do that. So apologies for that too. So I'm going to create a function called I'll not create any arrow function. I can directly create a function called get all actors. It should be in a camel case, which I really love, and I don't have a param. So it is nothing like it's asking, say function is not the thing, right? So it is the thing, like this is enough. Here I'm going to I'm going to return some promise. So this is where the promise will come. So I'll just tell you what is promise and observables completely wouldn't create some asynchronous functions, and which has a multiple values to return, so that it has its own kind of behavior. And if you want to emit something, if you want to subscribe something, if you want to get the next elements, lots of other things are there. But promise, unlike that, it is just a one way of sharing or sending the data. You can resolve it or reject it. So that exactly I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to return the new promise, and I'm going to have two variables in a promise, that is a resolve and reject. And once I do that, I'll be able to access this arrow function. So here I'm going to call the HTTP method. So this dot HTTP dot get, that is a function, and I'm going to access the same URL which is there. In that, I'm going to say this URL, and I'm going to I can say anything. I can use a subscribe also, I can say, and I can subscribe with some response, and I can access the response here. So console.log response. I'll not resolve anything now, so I'll just respond. So this is something get all right. So I'll just going to say async, and I'll just so while adding the things, like I'll be having some, any kind of thing. So I can use an await for there. I can directly say, like, for example, I want to assign to something. I can use that. So those things will work. So this thing, it will not actually needed async. So async is something which is not blocking, guys. So it is this non-blocking thing. So there is no much difference between async and non-blocking. So that's how it works. Yeah, this is pretty much about the HTTP, and I'll just access this particular here in my application. In my main page, I'll be going to my component and home component. Here I'm going to access the particular service. So I'm going to say public, service. So it's going to be a web service. So it will automatically add, ng on it. I'm just I'll just call that function, just service dot get all actors will be able to access here. It is not accepting any parameters. I'll just say it then, because this is a promise, and I'll say I'll get a result over here, promise result, and I don't have any result as of now. So that's why I can just I'm just printing the console, right? So it doesn't matter now. So if I call this promise, I should be able to get some print. So let me get into my new app. So are you able to see this? Isn't it cool, guys? Here I'm able to console it. So the same way I'm going to resolve it. I'll not console it. I'll just say resolve the things. Resolve it in a proper way. I'll just resolve the response if there is a response. So all the things I'll just going to write it in a try block. I really love to write anything in a try catch. So I'm going to give an exception in a catch block, and I'll definitely have a finally. Oh, sorry, finally is not a function, guys. It's just a block. So here I'm going to access the same thing here. Okay, at the same way I'll be I can catch here itself. That is how I can do in a promise. So once I resolve the things, I can just catch and error, and I'm going to reject that particular error. So I've used reject. I'll be not able to access over here. um cannot find the name reject. Okay, just result is also not found, right? Yeah, that's because I'm using outside a block. Yeah, that's again a problem. So you cannot use it in a outside a block. So because you're returning any function which is there, I can just say, like, I can unsubscribe, I can add, I can get into next and all those things. So I'm just resolving the function here, resolving the response here. So at the same time I'll just get into my home.ts, and I'll be having something called response any, and I'll just add that to my response. So this dot response is equal to response so I'll be able to get this response here. So next thing, it's going to be a some kind of, and I'm going to console it. So this dot response, so I'll be able to see over here on those two various. I just want to show it here in my application, in my card. So how I can do it? I have a response here. So all I need to do, I know where my card contains. So this is my card. I don't want to repeatedly write this card again and again. Schedule card. So schedule card is something. So I'll just say, okay, ng, I have something called ng for. This is a directive. This directive will do let, I can create a let the data of response, and I can access this. So I'll be not able to do because I have a two data. I'm not I'm iterating that in a two ways. So let me add the data to this. So here I'm going to say members. I'm going to say like, okay, the birthday was there, the data dot this particular attribute. So that's going to be birth date, right? So this is, we call it as interpolation, guys. So please be sure what you're going to do. So I'll be saying birth date in the same way. I'll be just calling the name, okay, nothing else. So that's it, I think. So I'll just born at, so if something is in a form of I can just say like, okay, data dot, I'll just say name is there, right? I'll just say wait, control C, control V. I have something interesting over here, so let me put that too. I have an image tag, hopefully. So I'll just, you know I will say data dot photo also. So it's going to be fun now. We have Tom Cruise photo here, everything is here. So we have not handled any photo, right? So that's why we'll not be able to get an exact here. We can handle the same photo here. So that was in a schedule card, right? In a schedule card we have something called, inside the schedule card we have image. So I can call that image here, and I can say height will be now 50 pixels. So let's check how it comes. Yeah, beautifully came, right? So everything is cool, but the thing is because of the height of the card, it is actually killing the thing. So this is just for a learning purpose I did, guys, so don't ever mind of that. So this is how you'll be able to access the data from things. At the same time, you can create your own things. So for example, this is the entire data, right? So I can put a post method over here. I can say actors, I can go for a body, I can say draw, and I can put the same thing here. So I need not to give any ID or something. I'll just say send, and cannot read the property ID of undefined. Okay, so let me check where I'm actually doing. So I'm sending the text, right? I should send a JSON. Okay, so still it is not giving. So ID of undefined is not a function. So I'm going to push, put the things. Let me get into here, posts, actors, post in actors in the same way. Okay. So but I don't think so we need to create an ID exclusively, because we don't have an ID over here, guys. So if you go to our server.json, we don't have anything to call ID, right? So let's have something called ID here. It's going to be one in this case. I'm just giving my exclusively. Okay, see, I'll just say 2 here, and here I'm gonna say like 3. Again, just leave it, it's not a problem. So once I give a 3, automatically it will become. So if I leave the thing, if I directly send, it will automatically create the things, and it will just add one more thing, right? So if, for example, if you come here, it create it, and it's added a ID called 4. So this is how we can create your own thing, guys. So that we're going to write it in a post method now. It's gonna be fun, right? Yeah, so we have 4 thing here. So at the same way, in the same way I'm going to write something called, then it's get, right? So get, before get, I'll be having something like, put function. So inside of put, I'll just create, put all, put an actor. So I'll just say the same thing. I can directly say like, okay, return new promise, and I'm going to say reject comma resolve, and and I'll be say like reject or resolve or anything. Okay, so I'll be saying here this and a service, sorry, http dot post. I'll be having a same URL. I can create my URL constant. I can access that constant here, or else I can just put like this. So but this accepts something called data here. It accepts two parameters, because you're posting something, right? So on what basis you're posting? So subscribe, so I'm going to say result, result. It should be the same array that I'm getting over there. So I'll just say console.log an array that is a result. So at the same time I'll just resolve the same result here. Okay, so once I resolve the result here, so I can just add here put, and I can go to my component.ts and I can say here it was an add member, right? I'll just create on add member. I'll just not say anything. Need to use this. So this dot service dot put an anchor, and here I have something called this thing, right? So I'm just going to copy the thing. I'll just create my own data. So I'll just say const data. I'm not going to change anything, right? So const data, I'll just send that data here. So I'll just share the data here, and I'll just use the then operator and just to access that particular promise. So I'll just say result, and I'll just console that log the results. So let's see how it works. I just need to click on add, and I should be able to share the data over there. So I did get something, error uncaught in a promise object. Oh, cruise. Okay, so isn't it expecting anything stringified data, because it's a data, right? So let me get into this, and I never used this before. So JSON.stringify, and I'm going to stringify this data for sure because it's throwing some array. I'll just click on object ID is 6. Okay, so I'll just you know in home.ts I'll just remove that ID. So I just created the ID. Okay, error recorded in a promise. So let me check. Something got created, but there is nothing is there, right? So let's see. Last thing was just ID. So if I add, it's again an ID 7, right? Something it is not adding in a proper way, so that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. So data, it tried to add, but it couldn't able to add in a proper way. So let me debug it. What is the problem? So here put an anchor. So we're going to say stringified data. I'm going to get the result and HTTP local position post method, and I'm going to say result over here. Result. So let me check why it is not uncaught in a promise object ID 8. There's nothing like that. So we're able to say ID 9 over there. That means you are able to add only the ID. So let me share it as JSON itself, because I'm not stringified any JSON over there. So let me check. Yeah, so that's tada. Resolve and not reject is not resolved, so resolve will come first. I did a biggest mistake over there. So that's the same thing, if you get into a node also, the response and the request, that same thing it will happen. That's why lots of times the people will they'll get into dilemma what we need to do. So if I again call, and I'll be able to get my last data in a proper way. So isn't it cool, guys? It's going to be very fun, right? And I can delete the thing also. I can directly like call the particular ID over there. So if you, for example, I have created my worst 5 6 6 7 8 9, right? I'll just put to postman. I'll say delete method, and I'll say ID 1, no 5 6. That's it. It's got create, it's got deleted. Now if you go here, 5 is not there, right? 5 is not there. So after 4 directly it is 6. Yeah, the same way you can write it your own code for that. So you can directly can write the delete for that. It's all pretty much about HTTP things, right? So we'll be having a lot more fun things in the future, and we're going to align these things in a proper way. We're going to show the the base wise, or show all the I love this person, so he's Robert Downey. Yeah, I can pretty much I can do all the things over here. It's going to be very fun now. In our next session we're going to create something, or we can directly we can just set up all the data part, and after that we can use the same data part in our application, throughout our application. Sorry, yeah, throughout an application, and we'll write a small architecture diagram, because we are doing application end to end, right? So it's better if architecture diagram of our application. And let's talk about the logic ways from our next lecture. So now till now we are just created a app, and just going with the flow, right? We're just you know there is no proper plan. So in our next session we're going to have a proper plan, what we're going to do and what is our ultimate result. It's going to be fun, guys. So yeah, that's it for today, and so keep learning, guys. So this is not like this is not at all a toughest about rocket science. It's a very easy thing which anyone can implement in a very easy way. This is nothing, this is just nothing. So it's not, it doesn't involve any logic, it's nothing, it's just a straight forward code where you're going to call something and get something. That's it. So it's cool. So if you're starting in a good way and you are in a proper track, so that's it for now, guys. So keep watching the videos and support us. Thank you.